In this video, we're going to go ahead and install the toilet. I chose a Gerber Viper elongated comfort height toilet. We're going to be putting a bidet attachment on it as well as a slow close, no slam toilet seat. Once you have everything that you need, the first thing you want to do is assemble the toilet.
The most common method is to attach the tank to the bowl before you set the toilet in place. The toilet should come with everything you need except the seat and the wax ring. There are two bolts that you need to put through the bottom of the tank and tighten them down with the plastic nuts that are provided. Put the thick rubber tank bowl gasket on the opening at the bottom of the tank. Before you place the tank on the bowl, make sure that you put the spacers on the back of the bowl. Line the mounting bolts up with the holes in the back of the bowl and then lower it down. When you lower the tank down, make sure that the spacers are still in position. Use the second set of nuts to secure the tank to the bowl. Tighten them down enough that the tank isn't loose, but we'll do the final tightening after we mount the toilet. Make sure the smaller tube coming off the fill valve is going into the larger overflow tube.
When it comes time for the wax ring, you want to pay attention to a couple of things. Number one is the way that your toilet flange is set in the floor. It should be level with the floor, but sometimes they end up below the grade of whatever your flooring is. The whole purpose of the wax ring is to make a seal between the toilet and this opening and the opening in the flange. You don't want water leaking, and you also don't want sewer gases escaping into the bathroom. If your toilet flange is below the level of the flooring, I would say to be safe, go ahead and add a second wax ring. If you look straight across the bottom of the toilet, you can see how much of the wax ring is exposed. It's not a ton. This is why I recommend, especially if your toilet flange is below the level of the floor, to add a second wax ring. You don't need one that has this black flange here. You can actually just get the wax ring and add it.
Now, some wax ring kits come with plastic pieces that'll slide over the bolts and help hold them in place as you're lowering the toilet. If you don't have that or your kit doesn't come with it, you can use some plumber's putty to hold them in place. Remove anything that might be covering the drain and then place the wax ring in place with the plastic funnel piece pointing down. If you decide you want to use a second wax ring, just place it on top of the first one. When you're ready to set the toilet, straddle it and lift. This way, when you move it in place, you can see the bolts line up with the holes on the bottom of the toilet when you set it. As you lower the toilet down in place, give it a little twist with firm pressure down. You don't want to rock it side to side. In order to use the caps that hide the bolts, place the little plastic piece down first, then you want to put the washer over it. Then take the nut and tighten it down. Just be careful not to over tighten. If you put a level across the bowl, you can make small adjustments as you tighten those nuts down to the level of the bowl. If your toilet wobbles, they do make plastic shims you can put underneath. Once you have the toilet secure, you can go back and finish tightening the nuts that hold the tank on. Put a level across that and make small adjustments until the tank is level. Since we're installing a bidet attachment to this toilet, you need to hook that up next. If you're adding a bidet to an existing toilet, check out the video we made showing you how to do that. Find the supply adapter and make sure that you have the washer that comes with it. I find it easier to put the plumber's tape on before I hook everything up. When you put the plumber's tape on, be sure to put it on in the direction that you're going to be screwing the components on. Tighten everything down, but don't over tighten. Also, be careful not to cross thread anything. Then you're going to hook up the toilet supply line from the valve on the wall to the bottom of the toilet. Set the bidet in place, making sure you line up the holes on the bowl, then set the toilet seat on top of that. Use the mounting bolts that came with the toilet seat by sliding them through the seat and the bidet, sandwiching the bidet between the bowl and the toilet seat. Tighten the nuts down so that everything is secure and not moving. Next, you want to make sure that the chain that goes from the flapper is connected to the flush arm. Go ahead and turn the water supply on, and while the tank and bowl are filling up, make sure that you don't have any leaks. Once the fill valve finishes filling up the tank, go ahead and flush. The last thing you have left to do is put the lid on the tank, and you're done.
If you don't feel comfortable trying something like this, you can always call a plumber. They should have all the tools and things that they need to be able to handle this task, no problem.